Nithyanandam. With all auspicious blessings and grace of my Guru, the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, Bhagavan Sri Nithyananda Paramashivam, I welcome you to this video. Today, I wanted to initiate a thought-provoking discussions about gender, gender identity, the lgbtq that we talk about today, that has caught the society in a storm of conversations, in a storm of controversies, where each section of the society has a very defined and a forceful opinion, and they stand by that opinion and claim that is right. Have you ever thought how these social definitions have defined your individual ideas, your individual decisions, your individual values? When I started reading about this LGBTQ society or the LGBTQ communities today, that was the first thing that started making me think how my opinions are defined by what the society considers as a valid conversation versus what is actually right. And that started my exploration into this gender identity. And around the same time, I came across Swamiji's revelations about the 11 genders, which is uploaded on the SPH Nithyananda's YouTube channel rather, in a more elaborate manner. But in this, I just wanted to share how these defined, preconceived notions of the society and people around me have given me such a strong definitions of life, such a strong opinions about life, which are not even real. Many times, I know I have made decisions, and I know my friends have made decisions based on many factors. It could be the way they look, it could be their social status, it could be even their bank balances, and most predominantly, it is this gender that is more of a focal decision maker that gravitates my decisions. Which gender? And I have very defined notions or predefined notions of which gender should behave how. And as far as I know, there are only two genders, male or a female. And it's a clear segregation. There is no gray area, there is nothing. So for me, it was a male or a female. And in my childhood, I have also read these various stories about Shikandi, who was a male, female. Then there were transgenders. Then this Mohini Avataram of Lord Vishnu. All these, though I have read it, I had not actually mapped it to the reality, that it could be real existence that I'm reading over the years, the stories of real incidents, reality that happened centuries, eons ago, that have been passed down by my culture, the Hindu civilization. So I'm in a better space to be able to understand and accept all genders. I had never mapped it like that because I was very clearly taught by the society from my childhood that there's only male, there's only female. There was no conversations about other genders. So all these stories remained as stories, as a myth, where we never really applied it as a reality and seen it as a possibility. But over the years, of course, these conversations have changed with gays, lesbians, transgenders, and various other genders that have come up. But what was earth-shatteringly revealing for me was Swamiji's revelation about 11 genders which Hinduism recognizes and celebrates. Not one or two, but 11 genders. So I had a question. How was it that there are 11 genders that have been identified by one of the most ancient enlightened civilization but seem to have lost in so many years? and centuries down the lane, we have filtered it down and encapsulated human beings into just two, male and a female, and then we just force them to choose between a male or a female. There is no choice. You either have to be a very clear male or you have to be a very clear female from literally the moment you're born and identified based on your on how you look, on how your body has come out from your mother's womb. I even remember that even if boys, kids, were dressed as girls, they would be teased mercilessly. So that habit also stopped in the society, where mothers would feel, oh, they didn't have a daughter, say they would dress their son as a daughter one off time just to enjoy that. But that also stopped over a period of time when the boys were mercilessly teased, abused, and shamed for that option. So when by the time I grew up, there was a very clear definition of male and female. There was a clear definition how females should behave, how males should behave, and this whole opposite gender enmity. Females hate men, men hate females, and we have our own reasons. Whether it is because we've seen a family history of domestic violence from the father, the grandfather, or the maternal grandfather, or on the other side, we have seen the mothers who are not able to handle parenthood and don't take care of the children, and we've seen the mothers abuse the children by not caring for them and not providing for them in the ways a mother should be providing. So we've seen all this, but never I have understood that there were 11 genders identified by Hinduism, which gave each gender its unique place and not only just accepted each gender but celebrated it. That is why during the ancient Vedic civilization, there was no definition or a notion about feminism because it was not just two genders, it was 11 genders. Swamiji further also revealed that it is only now the modern world or the modern society has even identified a third gender. Whereas the ancient Hindu scriptures and the ancient Hindu enlightened civilization had identified 11 genders and given all the 11 genders the same free space that a human being deserves, that a soul deserves, that a being deserves after being born on this planet Earth. It doesn't matter whether you're a male, a female, or any of these other genders. You, as a human being, have a value for the life you are carrying inside of you. That is the primordial principle of Hinduism. Now, how did Hinduism actually give you the confidence to identify your gender and to be stable in that gender and to live the life as how you have decided based on this completion of your identity? See, the body is the best clothes you wear. So unless you are comfortable with the body you are wearing, your whole life is going to be full of conflicting identities, conflicting relationship, conflicting way of expressing yourself. This is what has been happening over the centuries in modern world today, because the society has suffocated us so much with this clear demarcation of men and women, how men should behave, how women should behave, and it is so defined and the rules are so clear. It is not a principle, it's a rule. As far as today's feminism is concerned, it's a clear defined rules. A woman has to look like a woman, and if she cuts her hair, oh, she looks like a boy. No, I don't look like a boy. I just feel happy that I have a short hair. And if you think it looks like a boy, tough luck. But women don't say that. Their first reaction has happened is, oh, but I like it. It's more defensive. Why are we forced and suffocated into these genders? Because human beings have lost the science. By consistent persecution and genocide of the Hindu sacred scriptures, of the Hindu civilization, these specific celebration of the life principles have been lost to humanity. And it is not something that we just lost in floods or we just lost in tornado. It was lost, it was taken away from us by force through a strategic decision to demoralize, to delegitimize, to make us feel ashamed of our existence. Why, how, who did it? All these conspiracy theories, and many of them based by fact and evidences, are available in many YouTube channels. I encourage you to take a look at those channels so you can educate yourself and use that education to empower yourself with your right identity. Hinduism is very clear. Gender is not static, it is dynamic. In the Mahabharata, there is a character by name Shikandi. She is born as a woman, becomes a man, then marries, and even has a son. This is mentioned in the Mahabharata in Drona Parva in chapter 23. You can go and check it out yourself. Of course, there is a backstory to Shikandi. Before, in her previous birth, how she immolated herself with a vow that she will come back and take revenge on Bhishma. That's a backstory. You would find it again on many YouTube channels that are already there. So I will not go back into those details. But this example is just to tell you how the gender fluidity was accepted in what today people consider as old. Hinduism is not old. It is one of the most progressive principles on this planet Earth. That is why Swamiji, the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, Bhagavan Sri Nithyananda Paramashivam, is working tirelessly. And let me tell you, it is not a small thing. Collecting the number of manuscripts, getting them translated, teaching his disciples and his devotees the science and principles of enlightenment is not a small task. Making a human being understand his true value, his true worth, his own self, the self-worth, and encouraging the man, giving confidence to a human being to take a dive deep into yourself to discover the real you is not a small job. It's not an ordinary job. And nobody but an incarnation and a guru will have this persistence and integrity to make sure each of us explore this and discover our true selves. Coming back to Hinduism and what Swamiji revealed about 11 genders, there's one beautiful technique that Swamiji revealed from Hinduism, how you can identify which gender you actually feel complete about. It is not just an identification, it's not how you're born. You're born a male or female is just one aspect of your birth, but how you feel complete about how you express yourself. Which of these genders you feel complete about yourself? Complete in the physical way, psychological way, physiological manner, and the most important is your aham, your individual will. You need to feel complete with all these four components, not just the physical component. As you start looking into this, all the four aspects of which gender you feel complete about you, you will carry your body and yourself, the soul that is carrying your body, with so much of confidence, ease, and non-violence. Because the moment you identify, so much of acceptance comes, so much of joy happens in you. And you will know how to address any situation at any point of time without having to feel ashamed, without having to feel that you will be accused or that you will be ostracized. The moment you are confident that you will not feel ostracized and you have the ability to face all questions, to face anything without feeling ashamed, you will simply live a conflict-free life irrespective of what gender you belong to. Do this as an exercise for 21 days, and I would love to hear back from you how you feel at the end of 21 days. Please do it as a consistent investment to yourself. You may be a man, you may be a woman, you may be a transgender, you may be a gay, you may be anything as you identify yourself now. But write down, sit first, write down clearly from the physiological perspective, from the psychological perspective, from the physical perspective, and the last column will be your aham, your will, your individual self. Continuously write down for the next 21 days which gender do each of these four aspects identify yourself with. For example, I'm born woman. So physically I feel I'm a woman. Then you come to the next column, physiological, psychological, and will. Physiological, how do I feel? Do I feel feminine or do I feel I'm a man? Or if it is, then how much percentage of man and how much percentage of women do I feel? Then I move to the next column, the psychological column. There again, I go through the same exercise. Okay, so my decisions are, is it feminine based or is it masculine based? Then come to your will, because this is the most important component. How do you feel about yourself? Do you feel you're a female? Do you feel you're a male? Or do you feel you're genderless? You really don't care which gender you are, but you want to be complete with whatever you are identifying yourself with. So consistently align your thoughts, your actions to these. And if you feel no, psychologically, I don't feel I'm a woman, even though I'm born woman, then write down why you don't feel that. And analyze if those are really not the qualities of a woman. There is no predefined qualities how a woman should look, how a man should look, or how a woman should feel, or how a woman should act versus any other gender. All these predefined qualities and ideas have been enforced upon us by a society. Paramashiva has only one principle, principle of non-violence. And the moment you feel that this gender is not creating any conflict in you and you are celebrating that gender, you have found your gender. In the rest of your life, you can just be so comfortable, confident in carrying that gender as you. That is why in olden days, when there was a Gurukul structure of education in the ancient Hindu civilization, Brahmacharyam was a lifestyle, not just for males, even for the females. Brahmacharyam was a lifestyle, I will not say enforced, it's a principle. They were educated why Brahmacharyam is important, and this is the foundational reason. Because if you start playing with your gender and sexes at a very young age, by the time you're 20, 21, you become very confused. You are lost, you're conflicted between the sexual identity that you have, which gender you belong to. And that causes so much conflict in the way you relate to people, in the way you relate to the world, and eventually the way you relate to yourself. How you assess yourself, how you judge yourself, everything starts from you. So when you start assessing and judging yourself with a confused identity, you will live your life only with confusion and violence. Any confusion only translates to violence and suffocation in life. That's why in Gurukul educational system, till the age of 21, all human beings were taught the science of brahmacharyam, the value of brahmacharyam. By the time you come to the age of 21, you understand, you identify, you celebrate who you are in all ways, the physical, the physiological, the psychological, and through your aham, your will, your individual self. And after that, you choose whether you want to be a brahmachari or you want to marry. Whatever choices you make, you will not have violence and suffocation inside of you. And be clear, you will always make the right decision based on the principle of non-violence. The moment the world started moving away from such a basic principle of education, all of y'all will see how much violence is happening against the genders, whether it's child sexual abuse or rapes or the gang rapes. The world has become a terrible place for any human being today, because the violence of one gender against the other comes from the suppression of this identity. There is no other root cause for this. I really encourage each and every viewer to sit down and do this exercise for the next 21 days. Write down in each of the columns. Take a book for yourself. Mark 4 columns. Be disciplined about it. If you just write randomly, your thoughts become random. But if you write cohesively in a disciplined way, your conclusions will be disciplined. They will be confident. That's the reason I'm telling put columns. So when you read and reread again, your mind is very clear what you've written. And if there is a confusion in it, next time when you're writing, there will be more clarity. This month, give this as a gift to all your friends. They can belong to any gender. Let's work together. Let's make this society a happy, empathetic, all-inclusive society without any bias, especially based on something very primary as a gender. Let's keep our families, our friends safe against gender violence by educating people, by empowering them. The violence, the gender violence is not going to stop unless we educate them and empower them so they know what they're doing. The only way to stop violence, hate, racism against any gender is to educate and empower them. Take a moment and share this video to your friends and families as an effort to educate them, empower them, enrich them into this beautiful science of enlightenment. Swamiji has taught us every problem, every conflict, every violence has only one solution: science of enlightenment. If you are really sincere, if you're honest about wanting to be a change maker, if you're honest of wanting to make this world a better place for yourself, for your friends, your family, and your next generation, first address this suppression, suffocation, and violence of your identity. And encourage all your friends to do it, all your family to do it, and surely the world will be a better place for this one effort that you make. Let us all be the change makers that we wish to see in the world. Start with yourself. Start this exercise of gender identification. Do not worry if you're 60 years old. Do not worry if you're 3 years old or a 6-year-old or 20 years old. Just do it. You will see a lot of this violence and suffocation that has possessed you due to this enforced identities and ideas of who you are, how you are expected to behave, will dissolve at the end of 21 days. And surely life and you will be at least 1 to 2% violent free to what you were 21 days ago. Let us start, let us work together to make this world a happier and enlightening space of living. Thank you for watching. Till my next video, keep following me on YouTube, on my Twitter, on my Instagram, and all my social media platforms. And give me your thoughts, your feedback of how we all can work together through the science of enlightenment, which is being revived by the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, Bhagavan Sri Nithyananda Paramashivam, to make this place, this world, a better place for humanity. Nithyanandam.